Good day for everybody. Today we are going to learn all-level literature, some of the background knowledge for learning literature. So any piece of writing involves literary appreciation. So we are going to just see overview of literary eras, literary techniques, and some of the practical criticism. But those things we'll be learning in our next series of videos. Literary eras, Romantic era, first generation, that's about nature, William Blake, To the Evening Star, it's a sonnet and it's also ode. Sonnet means 14 lines, ode means praise or appreciate something. Second generation, John Keats, To the Nile, sonnet and it's a ode. Victorian era, Alfred Lord Tennyson, The Eagle, basically about the power. Victorian English poet Rudyard Kipling, The Camel's Hump. It's about psychological depression, couch potato culture, obesity, because people are glued to the television, computers, so they don't work hard. So that is the psychological depression. African American poem Maya Angelou, I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. Then Sri Lankan poets, post-colonial literature, after independence literature, Yasmin Gunratna, The Big Match 1983, Bringing Tony Home, Tissa Abesekara, Wave, Sonali Dharaniyagala, Colin Cowdrey lecture, Huma Sangakkara, Lahore attack. When it comes to India, post-colonial era, Vendor of Sweets, R.K. Narayan, Harindranath Chattopadhyay, The Earthen Goblet. When it comes to American literature, Emily Dickinson, A Bird Came Down the Walk, Prince and Pauper, Mark Twain. Stephen Crane, The War is Kind, ironical title. Edwin Arlington Robinson, Richard Cory, 1893, Panic of Economic Depression. But earlier we talk about the psychological depression in the poem Camel's Hump. But here we are going to talk about the economic depression in Richard Cory. See the year 1893, that is about the economic depression, but here it is 1983, Big Match 1983. See the connection, and it is easy for you to remember this when it comes to your exams. Modern era Polish poetess, terrorist is watching Wisława Szymborska. French poet Jacques Prévert. It is translated by Sri Lankan poet Regis Siriwardana. Nigerian poet Gabriel Okera, Once Upon a Time. British writer Cat Stevens. It's a song, Father Son. English bacteriologist and a poet Edward Lowbury, The Huntsman. It is about Kenyan folk tale. So we are going to learn another folk tale, Nightingale and the Rose, Oscar Wilde. We'll discuss it later. Professor Raymond Wilson, Two's Company, Irish writer, Oscar Wilde, Nightingale and the Rose. But earlier we learned about, that's about a poem, Huntsman. It's about the Kenyan folk tale. But here it is a kind of a folk tale. We are going to learn Nightingale and the Rose. So have the connection, enjoy when you are just learning literature, then it is easy for you to remember these things when it comes to when you recall the facts from your long-term memory. Chilean poetess Gabriel Mistral, that is Fear. Afro-Guyanese poet John Agard, The Clone's Wife. Russian poet Alexander Kushner, Upside Down. The Bear, that is Russia, by Anton Chekhov. When it comes to Japan, Japanese dramatist Yuzua Jinji Kinoshita. When it comes to short stories, there are two parts. That is something about fiction, that is not real life. Nightingale and the Rose, that's as I said, that's a folk tale. Lumber Room, that is also kind of a fiction by Saki. And real life incident, Lahore attack, Colin Cowdrey lecture, Kumar Sangakkara, Wave, Sonali Dharaniyagala. It's about tsunami. Ballad also there, it's a kind of a farewell to barn and stack and treats. It has a dialectical form that it gives some morale to it gives a kind of piece of advice to the society. Sonnet, that is To the Evening Star, To the Nile, like that. Free verse, Big Match 1983. Breakfast, Once Upon a Time, like that. Easy for you to remember the poetic versification and study the poems. Stanzas, A Bird Came Down the Walk, Richard Cory. Song, Father, Son. So when it comes to literary techniques, paradox, voice kind, so it's ironical thing we are going to talk about. Omnipresent narrator, terrorist is watching, he can see everything during the poem. Rhetorical question means unanswered question. To the Nile, art thou fruitful? So it's about unanswered question. So it's a rhetorical question. Figurative language meaning different from the literal interpretation. To the Nile, to the evening star, we are going to talk about fair-haired angel of the evening star. So that's Venus. Anaphoric effect, deliberate repetition of the first part of a sentence. He got up, he put his hat on his hat, he put on. So the deliberate repetition of he is there. So that is we call anaphoric effect. Apostrophe, you address something that is not present in the poem or death, like that. So these are some of the references. If you are interested in learning literature with me, so you can subscribe my YouTube channel, or you can join my online classes also.